Welcome back to Pop Flashback. I'm Rick Smalls, your host for today. Today, we're looking at the wild, wild life of John Belushi, a life that was just too short.
It really was a comet, burning bright and fast. Even his name, John Belushi, just sounds like a force of nature about to happen.
Doesn't it? It's like you can almost hear the laughter and chaos just waiting to burst out. Okay, so born in Chicago, 1949, Albanian-American parents. Grows up in Wheaton, Illinois, with 3 siblings. Pretty standard, right? Suburban kid.
You'd think so, except sometimes that kind of normal upbringing just makes you want to break out even more. Like a pressure cooker. And with Belushi, that energy went straight into performing.
It's true. That urge to perform was there right from the start. He was already drumming and singing in a high school band, the Ravens. They even cut a record, a single. Imagine that, a teenage Belushi rocking out.
It's amazing, right? And more than just teenage fun. It gave him that sense of timing, of rhythm that you can see in all his comedy later on, whether it's his moves on stage or the way he delivers a line.
College years roll around. Starts at College of DuPage, then bounces over to the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. That's where the whole inspiration for the motorcycle scene in Animal House came from. It's like you can see those rebellious seeds being planted.
Yeah, absolutely. Those little bits of his life story, they all start to add up. You see the signs of the performer he's going to become, that willingness to push, to embrace the crazy side of things. It's always there.
And then, boom, he lands in the Chicago comedy scene.
Yeah.
Starts with the West Compass Trio. But the real turning point is the Second City. Legendary improv group, right? The birthplace of so many comedy legends. He meets Dan Aykroyd there, Harold Ramis, so many others.
It's like Second City was this crucible where his talent got forged, honing those improv skills, building characters from scratch, and those connections he made. Meeting Aykroyd, that was huge. Their styles different, but they clicked,
Big time. And it wasn't just Chicago. He hits off-Broadway, National Lampoon Lemmings. That whole National Lampoon thing was massive, pushing the boundaries of humor.
Oh, for sure. Satire, pushing the envelope. Irreverent, sometimes even controversial. Belushi's energy just fit right in. It let him experiment with a sharper, more confrontational kind of comedy.
He's writing, directing, acting for the National Lampoon Radio Hour, even before he hits the big time on TV. Working with future SNL folks there, too. It's like each step is building to something bigger.
Right. It was like this creative pressure cooker, all these talented people bouncing ideas off each other. Belushi's right in the thick of it, learning, developing, making connections.
And then the game changer. Chevy Chase and Michael O'Donoghue see him. They recommend him to Lorne Michaels for this brand new show called Saturday Night Live, 1975. Crazy to think how one recommendation can change TV history like that.
What's funny is that Lorne Michaels wasn't totally sold at first. He wasn't sure Belushi's style, so physical, almost out of control, would work on TV, but his audition blew everyone away.
And how? Those 4 seasons, he creates some of the most iconic characters ever on SNL. The Samurai, Henry Kissinger, even Beethoven, the range, the commitment. It was insane.
I know, and he could play these totally different characters and make them not just funny, but kind of believable in their own weird way. Whether he was going all out physical or doing a subtle impression, you couldn't take your eyes off him.
But it wasn't just about solo acts. His partnership with Dan Aykroyd gave us something truly special. The Blues Brothers. Started as almost a joke, a warm-up act, and it just blew up. Musical guests, albums, the whole deal. It was crazy.
Totally. The Blues Brothers were more than a sketch. They were tapping into this genuine love for blues and soul music. That realness, plus their comedic personas, just connected with people. It wasn't mocking, it was a celebration.
And his physicality on SNL, it was off the charts. Fearless, throwing himself around, that infectious energy, and the catchphrases, they just became part of everyday language.
That's right. He wasn't afraid to be wild, to be over the top. It was raw, energetic, just plain funny. It was comedy that went right through you.
1978, Animal House hits the theaters. And it changes everything. Low-budget, college comedy becomes a huge cult classic. And Belushi as Bluto, he becomes the face of that rebellious, anarchic spirit.
Animal House really captured something about that time in America, the post-Vietnam feeling, anti-establishment. Belushi as Bluto, he was like the perfect symbol for that, pure id unleashed.
And the Blues Brothers, they don't just stay a sketch, they become a real touring band. 1978, the album Briefcase Full of Blues drops and it goes #1. Hits like Rubber Biscuit, Soul Man. It was like comedy and genuine musical talent just blurred together.
I know, right? That album's success showed everyone that the Blues Brothers weren't just a comedy act. They could really play. It showed their musical chops, and it brought classic blues and soul to a whole new audience.
1979, big decision time. He leaves SNL to focus on movies. That was a bold move, walking away from such a huge success.
It was a risk, no doubt. SNL gave him so much visibility, so much creative freedom, but it shows how ambitious he was, wanting to see what he could do with movies on a bigger stage.
And of course, 1980 brings us the Blues Brothers movie. Full-blown cinematic spectacle with Dan Aykroyd. A tribute to their friendship, their comedic chemistry, and their love for the blues. And the number of music legends in that film is still mind-blowing.
It was a passion project, a love letter to a whole genre of music and to Chicago itself. The way they showcased those legendary musicians, it was like they were preserving a piece of musical history.
And talk about Chicago, the whole movie was filmed there. Mayor Jane Byrne, she gave them basically free rein, even letting them cause some serious destruction. I can't imagine what the insurance paperwork for that movie looked like.
I know, right? But that level of access, it made the film so much more real. It grounded all the crazy stuff in a real city that people knew. It felt like a true Chicago story.
And here's the cool thing. That secret mission from God in the Blues Brothers, it wasn't just a funny plot point. It was also about trying to revive the careers of these amazing soul and blues musicians who, by the late 70s, weren't as popular as they once were.
That's so interesting. It was a comedy, but it was also a platform to bring these legends back into the spotlight, a real act of musical preservation.
That bond between Belushi and Aykroyd, it was something else. Started in those Second City improv days and just kept going. They were different, sure. Belushi more impulsive, Aykroyd more disciplined. But they had that comedic spark and that shared love for the blues.
It was like their different personalities, they fed off each other, they created this energy, this tension that audiences loved.
But he didn't just do the Blues Brothers. He took on other movie roles, too. Old Boyfriends, Going South, 1941, Continental Divide, Neighbors, trying to branch out to show he could do more than just those larger-than-life comedic parts.
Definitely. He wanted to challenge himself as an actor, show his range. Continental Divide especially was a deliberate move to show his romantic, more grounded side.
And this might surprise some people. He got really into punk rock, especially the band Fear. He loved them, even got them booked on SNL. It's a pretty unexpected connection.
It shows how open he was musically, willing to embrace something raw and different. It was that same rebellious spirit, just in a different musical form.
Sadly, there's a darker side to his story. The drug use. It led to him getting banned from SNL for a while, caused problems on set. It's a tough part of his story, but it's important to talk about.
It is. It shows the pressure, the temptations that come with fame, with working in that world. A reminder that even the brightest stars have struggles we don't always see.
And then the news that hit everyone hard. March 5, 1982. He's only 33. Passes away in a bungalow at the Chateau Marmont Hotel in Los Angeles. Drug overdose, cocaine and heroin. It was such a loss. So much talent gone too soon.
It was. It shook the world of comedy, music, everything. He was at the top of his game, and then just like that, it's over. Heartbreaking.
Robert De Niro and Robin Williams, they were the last two stars to see him. Both visited him separately just before he died. It's a haunting thought.
It really is. It makes you think about those final moments, surrounded by friends, still connected to that world of entertainment.
He was supposed to present the first ever Best Visual Effects Oscar with Aykroyd. Died just weeks before the ceremony. Aykroyd went up there alone, acknowledged his partner. Can you imagine the emotions?
It's powerful. Shows the depth of their friendship. The whole Belushi's death left a moving tribute.
Get this. The role of Dr. Peter Venkman in Ghostbusters, originally written for Belushi. Can you imagine him as a Ghostbuster? The movie would have been so different.
Wild, right. It makes you wonder how his energy, his improv skills would have changed that role, that whole film.
He was a huge Star Trek fan, too. Even played Captain Kirk in an SNL sketch.
Yeah.
William Shatner himself loved it. That's high praise right there.
Totally. Shows how versatile he was, how he could make even those super iconic roles his own, even earning the respect of the original actors.
Everyone says he was incredibly generous, loaning money to family and friends, never really expecting it back. His business manager wanted him to call in those loans later on, but Belushi refused. Says a lot about him.
Yeah, real warmth, loyalty. He cared about the people in his life. Money didn't matter.
His death, it left a mark. On comedy, on pop culture, people compare him to Chris Farley, another comedic force gone too young. You see that same raw energy, that brilliance cut short.
It's true. It's like they both had this incredible intensity, but it burned so bright it couldn't last. A tragic loss, both of them.
He finally got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2004. a long overdue recognition of everything he did.
A lasting reminder of his place in comedy history.
This is kind of bittersweet. His original epitaph read, "He made us laugh, and now he can make us think." But so many fans kept visiting his grave, they had to move it to an unmarked spot. It's a sign of how much people connected with him, even after he was gone.
It's touching, in a way. Shows how deeply he affected people, how they still felt drawn to him.
He had his quirks, too. He'd borrow $20 from people he'd just met, like he was testing them. And they called him America's Guest, because he'd wander into strangers' houses, eat their food, sleep on their couch. People recognized him, so they didn't seem to mind.
Sounds about right for Belushi. So comfortable with himself, didn't care about social rules, endearing in a way, and so uniquely him.
This one's almost spooky. That SNL sketch he did, Don't Look Back in Anger, where he's the last surviving cast member, took on a whole new meaning after his death.
It's eerie, isn't it? Like a reminder of how fragile life is, how unpredictable loss can be.
And one last thing, for all you Chicago fans out there, he was a die-hard Cubs fan. The Blues Brothers address in the movie, 1060 West Addison Street, that's Wrigley Field. A little hometown pride in that iconic film.
It's those little things that make you see the person behind the persona, the real John Belushi, the Cubs fan.
John Belushi's life was way too short, but man, did he make an impact. What's your favorite Belushi moment? Head in the comments and let us know. Thanks for listening to Pop Flashback. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Catch you next time.